Hey guys, it's Kesara, and today I'm going to be doing my review for The Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie. I'm so happy to be able to this reading vlog up for you guys because I started this back in December, a while ago, and just have been slowly making my way through it. I'm actually really glad that I read this very slowly. I think it's better reading it slowly because it just builds up better. So I'm really happy that I did that, and I'm really excited to get into this vlog. Just a reminder, there will be spoilers discussed in this video. If you want my spoiler-free thoughts on it, then you can check out the short review that I did on the book for all the gory details. That's what this video is for. So if you haven't read the book yet, go and read this book. Why haven't you read it yet? I know, I can't even talk because I literally just finished it. Go read the book first, then you can come back and watch this video because there will be tons and tons of spoilers discussed in this video. I'm hoping to get to this one more this week. I'm like really close to the beginning. Like I haven't read very much of it at all. I will say I did not love the first chapter. I honestly felt a little disappointed by the first chapter, but this is a series that the very first chapter of the entire series, Blade itself, the first book in the series, I actually really hate. So I'm hoping that just because I don't like the first chapter doesn't mean I'm not gonna like this book, that I'm still gonna like this book. So I'm definitely planning to get back to this one soon, but I kind of wanted to finish Jade Legacy first. So I have made a bit of progress in The Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie, and I have to say I'm liking it a lot more than I was before. I am right there, which is in the opportunities chapter. The last thing I remember from this book so far is Savine giving birth, which was just absolutely fantastic. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have no idea how Joe Abercrombie manages to write from the perspective of a pregnant woman that well, but I'm enjoying this a lot right now. I don't know if I love the direction it's going politically because it's getting very modern in the political sense, which kind of annoys me just because this is not the type of book that I go into for more modern politics, but I'm still enjoying it. So I like that it's still political, and I'm liking the writing a little bit more than I did at the beginning. So that's really great. So it is Tuesday, February 1st, and I have made a bit of progress right there now at the start of part 8, I guess that is. I realize I have been reading this book for like 2 weeks now and haven't made that much progress. Like that's like how many pages? 150 pages, which is like nothing for me normally. In my defense, in those 2 weeks, my brother got married and I started a new job. So I've been kind of busy, guys, but I am enjoying this a lot. I really like the direction that it's going in right now. It feels very French Revolution, which I'm not sure how accurate that is because I honestly don't remember studying the French Revolution. I mean, I know I studied the French Revolution in high school, but that was like over a decade ago, so I don't remember very much about that, but that's the vibes that I'm getting from this. Also, the now citizen, Brock, when did he get so politically savvy? Like, he surprised me so much, and I'm actually starting to like him a lot more because I didn't really like him that much in the previous novels. Like, I much preferred Orso. That might be an unpopular opinion, but I really liked Orso in the previous novels. But in this one, I think Brock is much more interesting. So that surprised me. Also, I want more from Savine. Like, Savine is the main reason I love this series so much, and I just feel like I'm not getting as much from her in this one as I have in the past two. But there's still a lot of book left, so there's still a lot of time. So it is Monday, February 6th, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been focusing on different books, but earlier today, I finally did get back to The Wisdom of Crowds, and I'm enjoying this so much. So I'm right about there now, which is like this much I read today. So pretty significant amount, I would say, considering like where I was before that. And it's just after Savine finally tells Leo about her relation to Orso and King Jezal, and his reaction is just so great. Like, I would not have guessed his reaction because he's completely nonchalant about the idea that she had a relationship with her brother, but he's like really interested in the fact that his children are technically royal, even though like the political situation, that probably wouldn't be that good of a thing. So I feel like he has something up his sleeve, and I kind of understand why I'm starting to like Leo a lot more, and it's because of this one thought that Savine has. She says she had heard it said that every woman ends up marrying her father. Until that moment, she had always imagined herself the exception. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I totally get it now why I'm liking Brock a lot more than I did before. It's because he's basically turning into Glokta. Now, I hope he doesn't get as bad as Glokta got, like on the torturing side of it. But yeah, he's basically turning into Glokta, and I'm loving every second of it, which is weird because I didn't actually love Glokta's origin story. We don't get too much of it, like to actually see it, other than like hints and clues about it in the first trilogy, which the first trilogy, I think that was like just enough for me. But when I actually read the short stories, I forgot the name of the short story collection, but the short story collection, I actually really liked the collection, but I didn't like the Glokta stories, even though it was like his origin story. I really liked the short story collection for Logan's origin story because I thought that was really, really good. So it surprises me that I kind of like seeing the same thing happen to Brock or Leo or whatever his name is. I'm enjoying that aspect of it so, so much. I still don't love the politics. I still don't love the politics. I mean, it's not bad. It's good. It's good politics. But I think just seeing Leo get involved in the politics in the way that he is what's so interesting to me right now. Also, we finally got an appearance from Baez in this book. I love it. I love seeing Baez in this book. I don't know why. He's just like one of my favorite characters in this entire series. I think it's because he takes that like old wizard mentor figure that you would think like Gandalf and Dumbledore and just completely turns it on a head and is like completely different than what you would expect from that kind of old mentor figure. And I love that aspect of it. So I like having Baez back in the book, and I'm enjoying this immensely so far. So it is a Friday, February 11th, and I did make a bit of progress in the Wisdom of Crowds. A lot has actually happened. First of all, everyone found out that Savine is not only Orso's previous lover, but also his sister? Ew, but also like, it was super anticlimactic. I kind of expected like a lot more tension from that than actually came, and it was just like, okay. But then it got a lot better because Celeste Dan Huygens rears her ugly head. I mean, I'm sorry, not Celeste Dan Huygens, Celeste Huygens, because this book decided to change everyone's name. Kind of like that dynamic where like in the first book, Celeste Dan Huygens and Savine had this kind of like weird rivalry, and now it comes back in this book. I really like that, so I'm enjoying that. I do think I'm going to put this one on pause just for a little bit because I have some audiobooks that are expiring very soon in the next week or so that I really, really want to get to in February, and if I don't get to them now, I'm not going to get to them like until March or April. So I'm going to put this on pause just because the books are similar in nature to this one. I am enjoying this a lot though, but it'll be a little bit of a while before I get back to this one. But I actually really like reading this one slowly. I think it's better slowly than if I had just read this in a day, because I just think it's the type of novel that I end up liking more when I could just absorb the content in a more sedate pace. I don't know how to explain that, just because it's more of a subtle type of novel. Like, it's not action driven, it's more like politically motivated. Reading it slowly has really worked for me so far. I have been doing quite a bit of driving recently, so I have actually made a good amount of progress on the Wisdom of Crowds. I'm enjoying it quite a lot. I really like the recent chapter that I listened to this morning. It was Savine's trial. Man, she is such an actor, and I loved every second of it. And then somehow by the end of it, Orso's king again. I'm not sure how that's possible, but it's kind of great, and I'm kind of loving this a lot. I like the direction it's going, at least, so we'll see what happens by the end. All right, so I just got home, and I am really, really enjoying what's happening in the Wisdom of Crowds right now. I've been listening to it on the full drive home, and it's not just because I'm in a really good mood, because I definitely thought it was going to take me more than an hour to get home, and it's only been like 45 minutes, and I'm already home, so I'm like super happy about that. But also because, of course, as soon as Orso becomes king again, Leo immediately gets his son revoted as the new king, which I love. I totally saw that happening, but I didn't know it was gonna happen that quickly. I thought Leo was gonna take a little bit longer to make those moves, but I'm loving it. Also, I just got to the part that Leo's mother mentions Baez, and I just realized, oh my gosh, Baez is not going to be happy because he was controlling all of the kings, and he's not controlling the baby king. Leo is. So we'll see how this goes. Also, the other scene that I thought was really interesting was the scene between Savine and Celeste and Huygens after like the whole thing goes by, and now Savine is like basically the queen, which is great, by the way. I love that she's basically the queen, but having Celeste like on the closed council, one, is great, but also there was a level of satisfaction seeing Celeste and Huygens almost like bow to Savine before that. So I like both sides of that whole scene. The side where I'm like almost vindictively happy that Celeste had to like pay for what she did without actually having to pay for it, and the fact that Savine Savine is making these moves so that women have like better positions in society. So loving this so much. So Savine saved Orso. I'm so happy right now because I definitely thought Orso was dead, and he's probably one of my favorite characters in this. I think mostly because he reminds me just so much of Giselle, which Giselle was, like him or hate him, he was a very interesting character in the first series. I love Orso because of that, so I'm glad he's not gonna be dead, at least not right away. A moment of silence for Bremerdan Gorst. Seriously, he was like one of my favorite characters. Really sad that he's dead. I'm really happy though that he was loyal to Orso to the end. So really happy about that, but one of the best characters in the series, I have to say. One of the best side characters, at least, because he doesn't really play that big of a role, but I like his whole aesthetic, like the badass warrior that has like that really high voice. It's such a great aesthetic for an audiobook, I think. So yeah, really loved him. So needless to say, I have made a lot more progress on the Wisdom of Crowds. It's so good. When I first started this book at the beginning, I did not think I was gonna like this book that much, just because, I don't know, I guess I was just disappointed by that first chapter, but it has gotten so much better. Rika is now on the scene with all the other ones. I was kind of surprised about Leo's response to her, because I felt like he was leading more with his heart than with his like actual politics experience, but he's definitely gotten a lot smarter. I don't like that he's not super happy to have Rika around, but I also kind of like that it ended up kind of pushing her into more of Orso's direction, which also, like, he's just hiding out, which is just great, which I love that. So yeah, really enjoying this right now. Interested to see where it's going though, because I really do feel like Baez is going to rear his ugly head at some point, just because, like, there's no way Leo's mom mentioned that. Like, it was just a slight mention. There's no way she mentioned that and then it's just not gonna happen. Like, he is, and I feel like he's gonna side with Orso, maybe. But I don't know what side Savine's on, because technically she's kind of on Leo's side, but like, they are not on the same page at all after, you know, the whole thing where she let Orso go, which still super happy that she did that. Super happy that she did that. Really enjoying this. So for the record, this is where I am now in the Wisdom of Crowds after all of the reading that I did yesterday. So I'm predicting that I'm going to be finishing this one today, and I'm really excited to see the ending because I just have a feeling that Baez is going to show up. So I'm going to try not to get to the audiobook today because I want to read the ending in the physical book, because for some reason whenever I read the endings of these books on audio, just listen to the audiobook instead of reading it, I always like regret it. So yeah, when I get home tonight, this is what's happening and I'm super excited about it. I lied. I did end up picking up the audiobook for The Wisdom of Crowds on my drive home today. I made myself not do it on my drive to work, but I couldn't help myself on the drive home. It was just a really long day, so I wanted some sort of reward, and this is what I did. So I listened to that much of the book on my drive home, and oh my gosh, so much happens in such a small space of time. So the next chapter I have to read is Great Man's Footsteps, and like literally there's like almost nothing left of this book. Almost done, and I'm really excited. But Glocta is back. Not only is he back, but he's somehow like the architect of this whole thing. Well, he doesn't like the word architect apparently, but the weaver. I love this so much. I don't know why I didn't guess that there was someone more powerful behind this, just because like there's no way Baez can be put down that quickly without someone like actually making those moves. So I love Glocta, and I like Savine's response to him, because obviously what he's done has killed a lot of people, put herself in danger numerous times because it caused this whole war, but she takes it from the perspective of kind of like a businesswoman where she needs to take the wins where she gets them and uses the allies that she has, which happens to be her father or her adoptive father and her mother. I love that. Also, Zuri is an eater. I did not see that coming at all, but it's great. It's a great twist. I absolutely love this so far. I want to see what Rika does though, because I feel like Leo is, Glocta does refer to Leo as kind of like a crippled like himself. Maybe he is going to be a force to be reckoned with, but I feel like Savine can like handle him. But it should be interesting to see what Rika does, because I think I forgot to mention this earlier, but I was kind of sad that she gave Orso over. Like, kind of sad about it, but at the same time I kind of didn't expect anything better of her. Like, I was surprised when it looked like she was siding with Orso, so that was definitely interesting, but yeah, I definitely want to see what her moves are. In the last chapter, Baez did make a move going after Glokta, but I feel like that was a bit anticlimactic, but he hasn't been that big of a character in this series versus the first series, so maybe the ending will not be between him and anyone, but it'll be between like Rika and Savine. That's what I feel like is gonna be like the big conflict at the very end. So I'm excited for that. Finally finished it and I loved it. I absolutely loved the ending. The ending was absolutely fantastic. Is it my favorite Joe Abercrombie book? No, not at all. But I loved all of the political maneuvering that happened towards the ending. I also loved that it wasn't like battle sort of maneuvering at the end. Like that sort of battle action. I like that it wasn't that. I mean, there was a little bit, obviously, because you can't have one of these types of books without that. I love that this book was a lot more subtle than that. I think it just worked really well, and I really, really enjoyed that aspect of this book. I will say, I'm only giving it 4.75 stars because I do feel like it was a little slow getting into it, but I still really, really love this book. I have read almost every book that he's written. I'm still missing 2 from that Shattered Earth series. Shattered Earth, not Shattered Earth. Shattered Sea, Half a King? Whatever, that series. You know what I'm talking about. I still haven't read 2 of those books, but I've read all of the First Law, and I love the First Law series. It's one of my favorite series of all time, so I'm glad that I can put this as a new favorite book of mine. I absolutely love this. So for the ending, I'm a little sad that Orso died. I didn't think he was gonna make it through the series. Like, I definitely thought he was gonna die, but I'm still sad that it happened. I'm glad that Savine is kind of in charge because I was not gonna be super happy if Leo ended up being like the most powerful person, but I'm glad that Savine was able to like handle him. I think that ending was just great on that side of it, so I enjoyed that. I also love that Leo does things in like the political office kind of the same way he does it in the battlefield, just charging through, and Savine just subtly maneuvers around him. I just love that ending. I thought it was great. I am a little annoyed that we didn't get to see more from a potential conflict between like Rika and Savine, but I'm kind of okay with it also. I kind of like how the ending of the North happened too. I didn't really love the North that much. I feel like the North was not really my favorite part of the series. It definitely was more like the political maneuvering and the Great Change and all of that. Like that was great. I'm glad it ended up the way it did because I didn't like the way it was going with the Great Change, so I'm glad it came back around. I think it just really worked for this book for some reason. So yeah, I enjoyed this immensely. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this, if you guys felt the same way as me, because I definitely thought this was going to be a more disappointing read, but I'm super happy that it wasn't. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. If you'd like to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!